Welcome to FO Talks. With me is Professor Ishtiaq Ahmed. He's a jolly good chap. He is probably the leading scholar on Pakistan. He's written three iconic books. One wasn't enough: Pakistan, the Garrison State; Punjab, Bloodied and Partitioned; and an 808-page tome on Jinnah. If you don't manage to read it, you can always build your biceps with it. Welcome, Ishtiaq.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Atul. Very nice talking to you.
Pleasure. So, without further ado, what's going on in Pakistan? Apparently, there's been an election.
Well, this ritual has taken place many times, and it's like deja vu every time. It turns out in a sort of farcical, uh, you know, distortion, manipulation, cynical use of power by the establishment, I would say by the Pakistan Garrison State. And what they have done this time is that uh, it was understood that if there is a free and fair election, then the PTI would be winning all hands down.
And by the
So,
way, our viewers should note that PTI is Imran Khan's party, the playboy cricketer turned devout Muslim who is now in jail.
correct. He's serving three sentences. One for apparently uh, uh, disclosing state secrets. It's a
Mm.
cipher document. That's one. 10 years for that. 14 years for allegedly abusing his powers to get private gains from the public gifts given to him. And third, for having married his current wife in violation of Islamic law. So these three things are already with him. But we all know that this is like a victimization. Uh, in 2018, it was the other way around when everything wrong was found in Mia Nawaz Sharif. Nawaz Sharif is now back in the good books, along with Benazir Bhutto's son, uh, Bilawal Bhutto. So what they have done this time is that they have let the PTI-supported candidates, they were not given the right to contest for the PTI with their, uh, you know, sign of a bat. They wanted a bat, and that was denied to them. So what they did
That was
was
who
that
denied them? Who denied them the
the
bat? Was it
the
the
Supreme
military?
Court, the
The Supreme Court.
Election Commission of Pakistan's, and this was upheld by the Supreme Court of Pakistan as well. Okay,
Okay. Who
so
appoints the Election Commission of Pakistan? Is it generals who appoint? Is it Pakistan Administrative Service officers who run the Election Commission?
well, I think this is appointed by the government, whosoever it is. But basically, uh, all such decisions are finally those of the GHQ, General Headquarters. So the
In
formal appointment,
Rawalpindi.
yeah, formal appointment is one. GHQ means the headquarters of the Pakistan Army. Okay, that's what I mean. But
Mhm.
technically, this could be by the government and so on. So that's not important. But uh, this election commission then denied them the right to have this symbol of a bat. So all of them have contested as independents. And according to those who think there was massive rigging, the PTI supported candidates are they have crossed the required number for a majority, which is 169. But officially, 102 seats thus far. Not all results have been announced, but PTI is getting 102 seats. PMNL, Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz Sharif, is getting 73. Pakistan People's Party, 54. MQM, which is an ethnic party of Urdu speaking migrants settled in Sindh, uh, 17. And then there is a minor party, three more seats. and one seats are won by other parties. So
So the army is not rigging quite like the Saddam Hussein regime did. They could have rigged, and one party could have got 99% of the votes. So surely there must be some free elections, maybe not as free and fair as the US State Department proclaims.
well, I would put it like this. I think this was done very intelligently.
I see.
If they had not uh, sensed that the people were going to vote for the PTI, uh, they would not have held the elections, knowing that this would be the case. So, what they did was they didn't let them have the majority, which probably in a free and fair election they would get. So, that they let them get 102 seats, which is short of a majority. And then the other parties, which are now in the good books of the regime, they are calling for a coalition, broad coalition of all parties to uh, you know get Pakistan out of the mess, the quagmire in which it is sinking. Pakistan is financially bust. Its political system is chronically dysfunctional. Nothing works, and there is a sense of uh, disillusionment, and people are uh, demoralized, I would say, because there are no jobs. Young people are trying to get out of Pakistan if they can, and it's a very desperate sort of situation. So now, what the establishment hopes to do is to club together a coalition and then try to uh, have a civilian type of government running the country. But from what I have heard, and some people have told me, many cases are going to the High Court and other courts of appeal against the election results, and there are massive uh, violations of the way votes are counted. There is a paper called number 45, where the initial vote is counted and signed, and then finally the final uh, document is called 47. What they had signed, according to these people, is very different from what the final result has been shown. So, this is going to be a long drawn case of court cases against what the election result which has taken place. So, Pakistan is once again a case of the ritual of elections being held without the sanctity of the free vote and freedom of choice being respected by the
All right.
by the by the establishment. Yeah,
So, Ishtiaq, this is an old game.
yeah,
In 1971, Pakistan split because of this game. The naturally elected government would have been the one led by Awami League leader Mujibur Rahman. Instead, of course, the military didn't allow it. So, what is at stake here? Then, of course, it was plain old fashioned racism, plain old fashioned ethnic superiority. West Pakistan thought it was the center of the universe. What's now the reason for the falling out between Imran Khan and the Pakistani army? Because after all, Khan was the army's blue-eyed boy until recently.
yes, that's very interesting. He was the blue-eyed boy, but once in power, he became an infant terrible. He started questioning the orders meted
He
out
started
to him.
questioning daddy.
Yeah, well, one can say that, and that ended up with you know the current chief of army staff actually complaining that his wife was guilty of some uh, you know irregularity, and as a result of which uh, Imran Khan didn't want to promote him to be the chief of army staff.
Hmm.
So I think at that time this clash took place, and Imran Khan had to be removed. What Imran Khan did was that he waved a paper in public meetings saying that this is a, a, a discussion between a Pakistani diplomat and an US diplomat, in which the American had been saying that we want Imran Khan to be removed.
All right.
Yeah.
You
And
actually believe that the Americans wanted Khan out.
well, this is what he claimed was written in this paper.
Sure. I mean, he can claim a
On the
lot of
basis,
things.
and on that basis, he's been given a punishment of a sentence of 10 years, because
Mhm.
apparently it is a cipher document which you can't bring out in the public. So
I
that's
see.
one reason. Yeah, yeah.
I see. So some observers claim that what is happening in Pakistan is a shadow game between the US and China. Imran Khan is actually backed by China. The Pakistani military is beholden to the US. After all, Allah, Army, and America have guided Pakistan since independence. Uh, how much truth do you lend to this theory, or conspiracy theory, as some people like to call it?
Well, I think it's a conspiracy theory which might have uh, a bit of truth in it, because you see, while Imran Khan was in power, he did nothing to promote the Chinese CPEC program, which was actually negotiated by Nawaz Sharif. So there is no evidence to show that um Khan is beholden to the Chinese, and he's not taken any very strong pro Chinese stance, except in the beginning, saying that he wanted an Islamic state based on the model of the Holy Prophet. Then he gave the example of Sweden as a welfare state and China as an example of a state, you know, through organization getting out of its poverty and backwardness. But that was the only time China figured in his speeches. Thereafter, there is no evidence to support it. But in this power game between the Americans and the Chinese, one can imagine that the Chinese prefer Imran Khan. But then the question is the Pakistan army completely in the camp of the Americans? I have my doubt. They know that that is not a very dependable situation. So alienating themselves from the Chinese would not be in the interest of the Pakistani military establishment either. They want to keep a fine balance between the two.
So, prima facie, there seem to be huge similarities between Egypt and Pakistan today. Both are
Hmm.
run by generals. Both countries have corrupt generals. The army siphons off much of the resources of the state. The civilian bureaucracy, in the case of Pakistan, the Pakistan Administrative Service, is incorrigibly corrupt, horrendously incompetent, and just like the Indian Administrative Service, except that it is beholden to the military, the army, instead of politicians. So you have two rent-seeking colonial elite institutions running the roost. And now in Egypt, you have the Muslim Brotherhood becoming more and more powerful. In Pakistan, one reads about and one hears about increased radicalization amongst the common people and the increased religiosity amongst the masses. They are turning to religion because the state has failed to deliver. You go to Pakistan all the time. You are, in my view, the greatest scholar on Pakistan at the moment. What is your read of the situation? What is your analysis? What is going on?
Well, something very interesting to note is that in this election, uh, one of the leaders of this terrorist stamped organization, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Hafiz
Hmm.
Saeed, his
Yeah,
son contested the elections, provincial elections, and he didn't get more than 5,000 votes.
I see.
The Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the traditional ideological party of Pakistan, always pushing forward the Islamic agenda, it lost all seats. It has not won even one seat.
Is
The
that because
J,
of the army? Is that because the army basically didn't even count their votes? Or is that real?
no, this is real. I mean, people didn't vote for them. And the
Okay.
JUI, Fazlullah, now they were very close to this setup, even they have lost the election. So that the people have voted for Imran Khan because, in their perception, he is challenging this very corrupt, inept, irresponsible establishment in Pakistan.
Hmm.
Imran Khan's own conduct, however, is a questionable one. He's been into a lot of populism like Islamophobia, that was part of his fixation. And, so
You mean accusing the West of Islamophobia, which he
yes,
did
yes,
on a regular
absolutely,
basis?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And he
This was
accused India of fascism and Nazism.
That's right. One thing more, you know, the predecessor to General Asim Munir, General Bajwa, on one occasion
Good old
said,
Jat officer.
yeah, on one occasion he said that we should have trade relations with India and we
Mhm.
will not make the solution of the Kashmir issue a precondition. A minister was also appointed who announced a number of items which were going to be imported from India. But then Nawaz Sharif and his ministers overruled it, that as long as Article 370 is not withdrawn, is restored, and the Jammu and Kashmir state is reinstated in its original special status, we will not deal with India. So, these are simplistic ways of looking at radicalization in Pakistan and what politicians do. I think people are very fed up with radicalization. The Lashkar-e, no, no, Tehreek-e-Labbaik, which was uh, the blue-eyed Islamic party of the establishment in the last election, it has won not even a single seat. So the people have rejected these extremist parties. They have voted for PTI largely because they think that the establishment has forfeited its right to enjoy the confidence of the people. So that's the
Mhm.
only reason. There is no ideology really involved except a feeling of the people of Pakistan that the establishment is corrupt and it is
Which it is. It is
irresponsible.
incorrigibly corrupt.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. The big change is that for the first time, this opposition is coming very strongly also from the Punjab. In the
Hmm.
past, that was uh, unthinkable. Now
Why?
it's the Punjab.
Why?
Because the Pakistan army is essentially a Punjabi army. The Pakistani bureaucracy is essentially Punjabi bureaucracy. Even the business class which has emerged is all Punjabi. Pakistan is Punjabistan, more or less. So, but now the people are fed up with all this.
Mhm.
And there was a Voice of America uh, a poll on Pakistan, and they found that 69% of Pakistani youth aged 18 to 34 wanted good relations with India. So I think those trends have to be noted rather than this question of radicalization and so on.
All right. So you're saying it's different to Egypt. You don't have the equivalent of a Muslim Brotherhood. Pakistan has to be viewed in its own historical context and its
That's
own
right.
political context.
There are
That,
some similarities, but still, I think the situation is very different.
all right. So the military is basically back in power. It will cobble together a coalition, and that
Yeah.
coalition will have no real power. What happens now?
Well, it depends who becomes the prime minister. Way back I said that the establishment's new blue eyed boy is Bilawal Zardari Bhutto because,
The chap who
as
speaks Urdu with an English accent, and the chap who was known for cocaine parties at Oxford.
yes, well, that character, he was Pakistan's foreign minister when he
And
described.
that, by the way, that's the rumor. I'm not saying that as fact. So if the
It's
Pakistani
a
government
rumor. Okay.
decides to sue me, that is what I hear from the grapevine.
I would not be surprised if there was truth in it, but that's not interesting. The thing is that as foreign minister, he described Indian Prime Minister as the butcher of Gujarat,
Yeah.
and that was a for a diplomat, Pakistan's diplomat number one, to use such words, I think was too much of a provocation.
Hmm.
So I think when he did that, I made a
Well,
video saying,
his grandfather said the Pakistanis would eat grass but get the nuclear bomb. So he's
yeah,
keeping family tradition.
it's that sort of rhetoric this family uses. But what is interesting is that when he did that, I made a video that, in my understanding, is that the blue-eyed boy of the administration now is going to be Bilawal Bhutto.
Hmm.
But then, for some reason, they brought back Nawaz Sharif, who wants good relations with India. So it's very confusing now. Nawaz
Is
Sharif
that
is a,
because it's a Punjabi army and they brought back a Punjabi instead of a Sindhi who speaks Urdu in an English accent?
no, I don't think that's once again too simplistic. Uh, that that wouldn't sell. You see, uh,
You just told me Pakistan is Punjabistan. I'm just inferring and extrapolating by your own logic.
yeah, but it's not that simple logic. I think there's a lot of confusion also. What they're trying to do is to have one man who is willing to have good relations with India, and another one now notorious for calling the Indian Prime Minister the butcher of Baghdad. Now, in if they are
Butcher of
both
Gujarat, sorry, not
of Gujarat,
Baghdad.
oh yeah, of Gujarat. Now, if both are in the same cabinet, it's not a coherent cabinet. So we don't know how the next Pakistan government, if it is formed by PPP and PMLN, Nawaz Sharif and Bhutto, what sort of agenda, what sort of program they will follow. So there's a lot of confusion. I was thinking that Nawaz Sharif, they won't let him come back because he was indicted in a number of cases. But they cleared him. When he came back, all those cases have been withdrawn.
They disappeared magically.
Yes, yes, yes. They found discrepancies in the evidence given in the past, and also now he's all right.
Excellent.
Uh,
So it is ruled by law, not rule of law. Show me the man and I'll show you the rule. If I like you, you're innocent as a lamb. And if I don't like you, then you are Satan incarnate.
well, that's exactly the situation. So it's the law applied in a way that suits the
Uh,
those in authority, those in power. Yeah, that's correct.
so let me ask you a more serious question. Pakistan has gone to the IMF yet again. It's the 17th time or the 18th time. Pakistan is in a phenomenal economic crisis. In the past, Pakistan extorted geopolitical rent, a bit like Turkey. Pakistan was a frontline state in the Cold War. Now, Pakistan is not going to get much money from the US and, by extension, from the International Monetary Fund. The Chinese have their own economic troubles. Under Xi Jinping, the Chinese economy is going through deflation. There is very little money for the Belt and Road Initiative, so debt relief from China may be available in small doses, but not too much. So here is a state which is fundamentally bankrupt, as you've just told us, which does not have a godfather anymore, where the children of the elite are fleeing to Dubai, to England, to the US, where things seem bleak. Will Pakistan become another Venezuela, for instance? Will Pakistan see internal disorder or chaos or even civil war? What lies ahead? Because if you're broke, that's a pretty serious thing, and Pakistan has a fairly big population.
Well, I would say that uh, if they are able to form a government and it becomes stable, and somehow the people, even if they resist, they they let things happen as they have always been the case in Pakistan. Then, if Nawaz Sharif is the prime minister, he and his family are known for having some intelligent way of dealing with the economy. And I think Nawaz Sharif, if given a free hand, would like to normalize relations with India and let trade, uh, take place. I personally would want that to happen. Pakistan's only way out, all other things have changed over time, but the constant is this irrational dislike, hatred for India.
I mean, of
And
course, but the Indians are kafirs. Surely you have to destroy their temples and
no, but
raid their cities for gold and women. I mean, it's an age-old tradition, isn't it?
but but once again, I think once again you are being a bit because if the Hindus are kafirs, are the Chinese anything else?
Oh, but they are far away.
No, I don't think that's the reason. I mean, you are right in a way. This is what Jinnah's based his ideology on, and Pakistan's ruling classes, Pakistan's bureaucracy, educational system, everything is based on a suspicion, hatred, fear, if you want to call it, of India.
Well, the
But
missiles are called Ghori and Ghazni. What more do you need to know? I mean, these were
yeah,
the
but
great invaders who came and looted India from Central Asia. And
yeah,
of course,
that's
the
right.
Pakistani elite likes to claim itself as Arab, as Iranian, as Turkish. So,
I
they
know.
don't want to be considered brownie fuzzy wuzzies from the plains of India.
But the chickens have now come home to roost. All that has proved to be of no use. Somebody said like this: Pakistan's army's motto is uh, lose all wars but win all elections. So now that's the situation. Had the Pakistan army defeated India, won Kashmir, we would have a very different sort of, you know. But now all that doesn't really carry much weight with the people.
Hmm.
These missiles are worth nothing. We have been not. How do they help Pakistan get out of its economic mess? So these things are only slogans and a lot of emotive content, but from the real situation in Pakistan, it's a desperate one. And I think somebody has to have the courage to make a national, rational calculation what is good for the state. And trade with India, I think, um is the most important thing to start stimulating and normalize relations with not only India but with Iran also. We have had Iranians firing missiles at us and we at them. Then with Afghanistan, we have very serious problems, in this
Right.
Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in the northern, uh, uh, uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, uh, the Taliban,
Northwestern part of the
Taliban,
country.
yeah, the
Northwestern
Tehreek,
part of the country where you have the TTP.
yeah, the TTP is, it has a lot of influence in those areas, and they have even attacked Pakistani military and police posts, and many people have
And
been killed
TTP,
very recently. Very
just so
recently.
that viewers know, it is Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan.
That's right. And then Balochistan has been up in arms now for a long time.
Hmm.
So that's another problem for Pakistan. So you see, the Pakistani state, with all its hyper ideology of Islam and the frontline state for the Ummah, they have never
Hmm.
said we did it for the Americans. They said we did it for the Ummah. But they have
Ummah, of
not
course, is the global community of Muslims, Sunni
Muslims,
Muslims.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Pakistan is bankrupt. The Pakistan army has not been able to win any war, achieve any of its objectives. The economy, as we know, is in tatters. So how long can you feed people only on ideology? I think in the next 6 months, we'll see if there is a popular movement of resistance to the state. If not, then for another period of time, this will continue until a new crisis emerges in Pakistan. For
So
me,
you're
the only constant in all these equations has been hatred or opposition to India. So if they change that part of their relationship, that might give them an opening which is very badly needed.
So your hope is Nawaz Sharif returns as prime minister, and lest people forget, he did try to make peace with Atal Bihari Vajpayee,
That's correct.
then prime minister. And you think Sharif, who wants economic progress, who's fundamentally from a business family, might open ties or change relations with India, and that economic relationship might be the salvation of Pakistan.
But the question is, would they give him the free hand to do it?
You
Because
mean the military?
the military, and with if they now include Bilawal Bhutto as the foreign minister, he said that I won't be Sharif's foreign minister, but in the new uh, government which is to be formed, I would be. I think Bilawal Bhutto is hoping that he'll become the prime minister. But then I don't think PMLN would join that government. It would be impossible for them. So you
Right.
never know. You never know what is going to happen in Pakistan. Yeah.
Excellent. So on that cheery note, or not so cheery note, Ishtiaq, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you very soon. And those of you watching this, make sure you subscribe to our channel and send us questions for the great professor here. Bye for now.
Join the conversation at Fair Observer and subscribe to our YouTube channel.